Welcome to Toni Unleashed, the podcast where we unleash the truth about all things pets.
Our research and anecdotal evidence matched with pet expert interviews will help you help your pet thrive.
We are here to answer questions, divulge information, and spread awareness about what's really going on in the world of pets.
I am your co-host, Emily Taylor, pet nutrition enthusiast.
And I'm Toni Shalaski, owner of Healthy Pet Products with 3 locations in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, and recently expanded to Port Charlotte, Florida. Welcome to the show. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Toni Unleashed, the podcast. This episode is going to be different than all of our other episodes. We received an email from a listener. Finally, yay! We finally got an email asking for our help with their cat. And before we get into it too much, I just want to take this time to let everyone know that Emily and I are not veterinarians, nor do we ever claim to be whatsoever. We have been in this industry for a very long time. I've been in the industry for 15 years.
Wow.
And seven. So what we talk about is through experiences that we've had personally and experiences that we've had with our customers. We've seen what works, we've seen what doesn't work, and have used many supplements and strategies ourselves over time. We care very deeply for all animals and love learning more about them and ways that we can help and share our experience with all of you. So with that being said, we're going to dive into it.
Yeah, this is going to be really cool. This is a first and hopefully not our last.
Yep.
We've never done anything like this before, and I'm really hoping that this catches on and we hear more from other people sharing their story and asking for advice. So basically, we're going to say it's an anonymous email from a listener about some issues she is having with her cat. And this is what they wrote.
Hello, Toni Unleashed. I am writing to you on behalf of my cat, Clark. First and foremost, I am a first-time cat owner. I never really understood cats, nor did I ever really want one. It wasn't until I was visiting my parents for the holidays and their neighbors found a stray kitten in their yard. Long story short, my parents kindly took in this kitten, and they were also first-time pet owners. I guess it was an empty nester response. That trip to my parents, I fell in love with this tiny little gray kitten, took care of him, and really bonded with him. I ended up taking him from my parents. I had to. And my parents, as much as they wanted him all to themselves, they understood. I was going through a breakup. I needed Clark more than my parents did. Fast forward 3 years, Clark and I are still the best of friends and do everything together. However, the past couple of months, he's been throwing up a lot. I haven't changed his food. He eats a variety of canned food, his favorite being wellness chicken pate. I do leave out some dry kibble when I am gone at work. The dry kibble is Lotus chicken. This is the first time he has ever done this, meaning throwing up. And I thought it would pass, but it has not. I'm reluctant to take him to the vet to get all the blood work and tests done because he hates the vet so much. Any help or suggestions would be greatly appreciated. Sincerely, undiagnosed cat lady.
I feel like all cat people, their stories start off with not actually wanting a cat.
Very true. But this,
and then they get one,
this
and
one
then
that never wants a cat, I can honestly tell you, is never going to have a cat. Meaning me, guys, me. Anyhow, so if this were happening in the store, I would have 18 million questions, but we don't have that.
Right. Well, let's ask. I mean, I guess it would be helpful for listeners to know what the questions you would ask.
Sure. So one of them would be, have there been any major changes in the household?
And I think that is huge because cats are so, even though they have such a high pain tolerance, they're so sensitive to changes, environmental changes, routine changes, anything. They're so sensitive. And I think we forget that often.
Sure. Another question I would ask is, have there been any recent vaccines? And when I say recent, I mean even within the past 3 months.
Mm-hmm. That's also very fair.
Same with, have there been any flea and tick medications, especially oral flea and tick medications, because oral flea and tick medications absolutely can have digestive side effects, and it says it right on the panel.
And I think what's important to touch base on here is that because these side effects can happen after vaccines are administered and after flea and tick medication has administered, a lot of the times that's the reason why they're not reported and not documented. So there isn't as much data around the adverse response to these.
Yep. So those would probably be the main questions.
Yeah.
Then I would likely go to prebiotics and digestive enzymes.
Yeah. And then that is a really easy way to, especially Optigest, it doesn't have a flavor.
Right.
It doesn't have much of it. It has a slight one, but and especially if you're feeding wet food,
yep,
it is very easy to mix in and blend in and for the cat to not turn away from. A dry food can be a little bit tougher. I mean, however, I will say if you are feeding a dry food solely, I would add water to it, and then I would definitely add Optigest to that.
Definitely. Yep. So a lot of times that would take care of the issue, but we're going to hit on multiple things that we can do to remedy this. So she leaves kibble out during the day. Adding water to kibble can make it more digestible. My only concern with that is because she's leaving kibble out all day, if we add water to it, do you think the cat's going to eat it?
My cat does.
Oh, okay.
But my cat also, because sometimes I will do, I'm not going to lie, I am a human. I cannot do everything right.
But we
try. Sometimes I have those days where my cat just gets kibble and I'm like, well, at least.
Really?
Yeah. Depends on the situation. I mean, I've been adding kibble to my dog Sweet Pea's diet more because she's a senior and for weight gain purposes. So sometimes I have been a little bit lazy and have also given Sue that same kibble.
Okie dokie. Wow.
But it does have water in it. And he does eat it.
Okay.
But
I feel like we're in a confessional right now.
I know. We're only human. We're only human over here, and our animals are still alive.
Yeah.
But I don't think every cat would.
Okay.
So I think that's fair to say.
Okay, so that's an option. Adding water to kibble.
Yeah. We talked about digestive enzymes, prebiotics. I would definitely add that to the wet kibble. I would also add that. Whenever you're doing wet food and prebiotics, digestive enzymes, I would do that on a licky mat.
Oh, yeah.
And what that does is that slows down their eating and it increases their salivation. And that is the first step in digestion. So that's going to help digestion.
Love it.
Yep.
Because she mentioned she hasn't changed anything food-wise, I think it might be a good assumption that the cat for 3 years has been eating Lotus chicken kibble and Wellness chicken pate cans. So that being said, it could be
an allergy
to the protein because the cat's been eating the same protein for 3 years.
And not a true allergy, an intolerance. An intolerance.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
so
they just need sometimes, and we've talked about this before, even for cats, when you introduce new proteins or you rotate their proteins, you're filling nutritional gaps and you're allowing the body to continue to produce new enzymes and those diverse probiotics that are already pre-existing in the gut to flourish. So we're strengthening the digestive tract that way, hence the immune system. So maybe let's try to slowly mix it up a little bit and slowly add a different protein and then slowly add a different protein after that and after that, after that.
Yep. All right. Next up would be using a plate or flat surface to feed the kibble.
Whisker fatigue.
Opposed to a bowl.
Yeah.
So whisker fatigue, which I know in other episodes we have talked about, but you know, the term picky cat can sometimes come from whisker fatigue. And what we mean by whisker fatigue is whiskers are there to warn cats of danger. So if you are feeding your cat in a deep bowl, your cat's whiskers are going to hit the side of the bowl, and that makes them think that there's danger near. So that creates the picky cat syndrome. Mm-hmm. Truly. It can be a factor, like no joke.
I wonder if that's almost like fight or flight. And so maybe it's a stress eating thing where they scarf down their food really quickly as well.
I like that. Adding bone broth to food. And bone broth could be added to wet and dry to help with digestion.
Yeah. Bone broth, or it can be just put on a separate plate or a separate bowl completely. Like water would be.
And they would lap it up.
Yep. It almost would be better than water, honestly.
With all the minerals and nutrients in it. Yeah. I bet they would love it. Coconut oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coconut oil is great.
And even flakes.
Yep.
We sell the flakes from Cocolicious.
Ruruva sells this really nice little pouch that is a blend of coconut oil and pumpkin. Yep. And that would be really great to add with the wet food or with the wet food on top of a licky mat to help aid in digestion, absorption, fiber, everything.
Yep. Smaller, more frequent feedings when your schedule permits.
Yeah, so not all the time, but sometimes like on the weekend, try it out.
Yeah.
Like do a little bit of, sometimes what I do with my cat even is I will put the food out and then I notice he's like really into it and eating it really quickly, and I'll take it away and then I'll put it back out an hour or two later.
So on the flip side of that, you know, you always hear cats can't go without food for more than 24 hours or they're going to die.
Right.
Or like, how true is that? And what's your take on that, Em?
So cats' digestive tracts are far more acidic than dogs are, and it's a little bit shorter. So that's why they need to have more consistent meals. I do like to make sure my cat has at least 2 meals a day or has food readily available, because if he doesn't, then he will really intensely scarf down his food. Like if I skip a meal at any point in time, the next
voracious.
meal, yeah.
Really?
And then that can lead to an upset stomach as well. So I am all for small meals, multiple meals a day. I mean, even if it's you like hide food around the house.
That's what I was just going to say. How you do with your dogs, you do with your cat.
So I don't, but I should. I mean, for Clark, if he's the only cat in the house, it would be easy to like maybe instead of putting all of his kibble in one bowl, maybe spread it around the house so that he can find it and eat a little bit at a time throughout the day, especially since she's already feeding 2 or 1 wet food meals a day. But it can be hard when you have dogs, unless you put them on like really high surfaces.
Yeah.
And my cat loves food, so I could get away with it potentially as long as my dogs didn't sniff it out.
Okay.
I mean, I think overall, the moral of the story is, and thank you, Undiagnosed Cat Lady, for bringing this to our attention, but there are some things that you can try before you go to the vet. I mean, not everything is an emergency.
Yes. I agree. I agree 1,000%.
We just gave like 7, I mean, I don't know how
potential remedies that you can try at home.
Yes.
Before going to the vet, spending potentially unnecessary money.
Right.
And vets are understaffed just like every other industry. So it's they're stressed. They're taxed for time.
Right.
So, and you know, a lot of times they will their go-to for digestive issues might be an antibiotic or a
ultrasound,
anti-nausea medication,
Right.
or for throwing up. It's a difficult thing to diagnose. Our dogs and cats can't communicate with us verbally. They can only communicate us through body language. So it's hard for them. It's hard for
Right.
vets. It's hard for us. I think it's easier for us because we live with them.
but even how hard is it to, like, IBS is diagnosed because there's nothing else to diagnose a person with.
Right.
So,
And IBS means syndrome.
right.
And when a dog or cat is diagnosed with IBD, irritable bowel disease, that is coming from a biopsy of the colon. And it is proven through a test of a biopsy of the colon that it is truly a disease at this point. If you have an IBS diagnosis,
It's a symptom.
it's a symptom.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that goes to show, like, human medicine has been relevant for so much longer than
Veterinary medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if we can't figure out, digestive upset or the root cause of all of this for us, I mean, it's so much harder to do that, especially for a cat who typically hate going to the vet more than anything. And that causes stress, which also causes more digestive issues.
And they're more stoic than dogs are.
Yes, it is hard. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
They're pain tolerant. Like, you don't really notice that they're in pain until they're really in pain for
Right.
cats. Yeah.
Right. And then, yikes.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts before signing off?
No, I think that was like a really intense short episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I think so thankful that we finally got our first email.
Right.
It doesn't have to be an email.
Right. It can be a message on social media.
Yep. Instagram or Facebook.
Right.
If you want to email us, it's info@tonyunleashed.com. And then our Instagram is obviously Tony.unleashed. And then Facebook is Tony Unleashed. So please, we want your feedback. We want to hear what you have to say. We want to help. We want to give you all ideas. Thank you for listening. As always, we would love to hear more feedback. Please write us. I just said all this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you
Okay.
so much. Thank you, Undiagnosed Cat Lady. We love you.
Bye.